welcome back to APPF1 Tier 2. We are here for round number 9 of 10, the penultimate round of this thrilling Tier 2 season. This division back to its very best, with two outrageous title battles. The driver's title going down between what looks like it's going to be 4 drivers, and the constructor's title between 3 teams. This is a classic, an all-timer of a season, and we are nearing its conclusion with this race in Belgium. As we're here in qualifying, as you can see, it is raining quite heavily. It's not quite enough for full wets, but it's definitely inters out there, and we'll see what the drivers are capable of. We've got a couple of newbies on the Tier 2 grid. Well, Gary's been a Tier 1 driver for a couple of weeks, but we've given him a go in Tier 2, see how he gets along here, see if this is more, if he's going to be more competitive and have more fun here than in Tier 1, then we'll get him in Tier 2, but we're giving him a go for now. And Kurt M97 as well, someone I believe that Scott has brought into the league. So thank you for that, Scott. I hope you enjoy your time here, Kurt, and welcome to APPF1. This is his first ever race with wheel as well, so we'll see how he gets on there too. But I'm going to ride on board with Gary as he takes us around a lap of Belgium in the rain. Down towards turn 1 he goes as he tries to get the traction down the gears, braking at 100 meters for turn 1 in these conditions. Hello Rick in the chat, we are so back, we are indeed, as Gary heads towards Eau Rouge and Radion now. Into 8th gears as he shifts down through Radion. He does, down to 7th gear, just being careful through there, but yeah, definitely a lot more pace he could be finding through that section of track. And now down the straight, all the way down. Brakes at the 100 meter board again. You're usually seeing 75 meters for the braking zone there, or later in the dry. But Gary playing it safe for his first run. PSV Arsenal on the telly, APP on my phone. Well, hopefully your phone is a lot more entertaining, right? As Gary heads through No Name and the tricky middle part of Sector 2. Super soggy Spa, indeed, Dakar, indeed. It's great to have you in the chat as well, and I did see Primeval in the chat as well. Yeah, it has rained here quite a bit in Tier 2, I feel, as well. I do agree with you. But Gary heading through the latter part of Sector 2 now. APPF1 always has my priority, thank you, Rick. As Gary now is not invalidated yet, he's doing decently. He's just got 1 sector to go, essentially 1 more braking zone to go, although has to lift off a bit through. Through there, usually a flat-out corner in the dry, and down towards the last chicane goes Gary. I don't know what this initial time is going to be, but I'm sure there's going to be faster times that will happen today. He's already out with ERS deployment, so he's used quite a bit of it on this lap. We're going to see probably quite a bit of that in this session, people running out of ERS, as Gary rounds the final corner and down towards the line for 158.299. Kurt 2 tenths behind as he goes across the line for his first ever lap in APP. Aces versus Kings, a 157.1 from the Alpine driver. That is more like it. As Robs, who's going to be next across the line, what can he manage? He's quite a bit slower than Aces, 8 tenths down. He goes to P2. There's a McLaren behind. That's Tier, half a second behind Aces. That lap from Aces looking better and better as more people come across the line, including last week's winner, Jack Alaco, 2 tenths behind Aces with that run. What about his teammate, 2-time champion Lawrence? Still getting used to the wheel, but he's getting better and better every week. But this time he's a long way down, only a 58.7 from him. Cavalis up to P4. Sumo Gilligan now takes pole position, as he did last week in Singapore. He couldn't quite convert in the end. He only could manage P2 for the, I believe, 3rd time this season. But Extrarec absolutely obliterates the entire field with a 155.5 in his Mercedes. The defending champion has not come here to play. Goodness me. Tricky Badayak down towards turn 1 now. as he starts his next run. We've got Denko as well joining his teammate on the front row. He's had really horrendous form really recently, Denko, and so a front row start for this race would do a heck of a lot for his confidence, because it must be rock bottom at the moment. Mercedes have been dragged into a title fight for the constructors that it looked like they would win at a canter about 5 weeks ago. Due to Extract missing a couple rounds, or well, missing one round, DNFing from another, and generally being in not great form himself, but Denko as well not being in good form. So they've been dragged into a three-way constructor battle. It's very, very close between those three teams. It's Mercedes, McLaren and VCarb are those three. Enchiladadad in Sector 2. Some people were touting him for pole today, including Sumo in the podcast, I believe, as Ench comes through the last couple of corners, or the last corner of Sector 2, and down the straight towards bus stop. We've got Avenir, he's invalidated. Triku behind the McLaren driver. Scott, though, also behind, as Jackalacco improves, as the times are going to start coming down now as the track improves its condition. He goes into P2, splitting the two Mercedes. What can the championship leader, Enchiladadad, do? He's only winning the championship by 4 points at the moment, but it could be even more. Oh, it looked like it was a lot better than it was. The line came later than I thought it would. The 155.9 from Ench. It's only enough for P2, but as long as he's near Jackalacco, as long as he finishes ahead of Jackalacco, he will surely extend his championship lead going into the finale. It's only 4 points to the Aston Martin. Scott coming across the line as well. Triku Budayak only 14th. Scott manages P7 for now in his Alpine. Let's have a quick look at the standings then, while we're waiting for more laps to come in. So it's Enchiladadad with 106 points, who leads the way from Jackalacco, last week's race winner. 102 points to him. Enchilada did end up getting a 5-second penalty in Singapore, which dropped him all the way to 7th. And lost him quite a few points. Then it's JB, or Joby, with 91 points. He's 15 behind the leader. And then it's Extrek, two-time defending champion, goes with 90 points, 16 points behind. So 16 points between those top four. Denko a further 7 behind. He's not mathematically out of it, but with his form, I say people, I have been counting him out of the championship battle, but who knows? He's up there in P5 right now. Lawrence has gone to P6, though, an identical time to the Mercedes to the 1000th, but lines up behind him. That was Crofty level overhyping on that lap. The line came a lot later than I thought it would, but Gary has just gone into P4, and look at the track evolution start to come in. Jackalacco at 54.6, Tier only 3/10 behind him, but they both came across the line very close to each other. But it's clearly the track improving by quite a bit with every minute that goes by. Extrek is over a second up in Sector 2. We'll see what he can do now to the final chicane. Comes the Norwegian. Sumo goes to P3, but Extrek, I think, is going to retake that pole position. Cavalis to P4. Extrek goes to P1 again. 3/10 he goes ahead of the Season 10 champion, Jackalacco. There's more drivers coming across, though, as the times come tumbling down. I think, is that Triku Budayak? It is, to P3. That's much more like it from the Haas driver. What about the other Mercedes, the Greek driver, Denko IGP? He is 7/10 up in the middle sector. What's it across the line? It's only 3/10. He lost quite a bit of time in that last sector. But there's more to gain, I'm sure, for him. JB goes to P8, but he's a long way down, is JB, and he'll be disappointed with how this quali session's going so far, although he is ahead of the championship leader for now. But Ench is still in the pit lane at the moment. Primeval on a lap as well. Avenir finally is going to get something on the board, and it's a 58.3. Quite a way back, but just in front of his teammate for now. Both of these drivers have had their struggles. Avenir certainly had his struggles in his first few weeks of APP. Kurt is just moving onto wheels. This is his first race on wheels, so we can excuse him being a little further down from the rest of the grid. Is that damage to Primeval? It is. He's got no front left end plate, so I'm not expecting a particularly fast lap from the British driver on this occasion. This will be his last season for a little bit. Primeval. He's going to take some time off after this season as Jacko retakes pole position. And he is really putting a foot onto Enchilada's hand as he tries to reach across to the championship trophy for this season. Jack Alaco is making his mark, and well, he has had a couple to be said to start off F1 24, but this one has gone very nicely indeed. And he's already got 2 wins this season. He won the season opener. He won Singapore last week in a chaotic, and it was an APP classic, that one was. And Jacko now just 4 points behind into this race. He is really gunning for the title this season, and Enchilada's going to have to find a lap in these last 6 minutes. We've got some Extract fans in the chat who are saying some interesting things. I'm not going to focus too much on that. Avenir is French for future. I believe you're right. It's been a long time since I did French, but I believe you're right. So yeah, you know what, Daka? That's a positive spin to put on it, isn't it? So I'm definitely I'm happy to go with that. Tier has for some reason fitted the softs in the garage. Hopefully he doesn't come out on them. It's clearly not slick tyres out there. As Ench comes back into the pits. Why? Is it maybe the slick tyres are coming out? Maybe Ench feels it's not worth doing another lap because the slick tyres are going to be the tyre to be on at the end of this session. And if that's correct, then we are in for a barnstormer of a final few minutes to such an important qualifying session, such an important race overall this is going to be. But wow, Primeval did manage to get a lap in. Even with that damage, he's up to P11, so that's quite impressive from Primeval for now. Aces versus Kings. Also on a lap. Remember, he was pole by a distance to start off this session. Now he's down in 15th, so just shows how much the track has evolved over the course of this session. Yeah, and guys, the more you scream at me to show Extract, the less I will show of him. So appreciate you being fans in the chat, but please stop screaming at me to show a particular driver because I will just react by not showing him. Aces, though, coming through the last few corners. What can he do? Can he get himself further up the field? Well, based on his first lap in this quali session, you would think so. He's still got some ERS to deploy, which is unlike many other drivers so far, and he goes to pole on those intermediate tyres, so it's still Inters for now. JB goes to P2 as well. The track is evolving with every minute that goes by. This is going to be so close. Rick wants me to show less of Jack. Got it, Rick. But 3 minutes to go. Literally anyone could be on pole. And I genuinely mean that. Anyone on this grid could be on pole with the way this qualifying session is going. Avenir up to P12. What can Kurt do? He's invalidated, unfortunately. Lawrence coming through turn 1 to start another attempt. Who else on a lap at the moment? Is JB going for another one? No, he's recharging. So is Aces just ahead of him. So I don't think anyone other than Lawrence on a lap right now. So I'll stay on board with the two-time Tier 2 champion as he comes down towards the end of the first sector, taking some of the slipstream from that Sauber ahead. Into the sector line he goes, and he's a 10th and a half up already. He's going to need a lot more than that, of course. 3 minutes to go in this session. This is going to go right down to the wire. What qualifying this is set to be. Tier has gone out on the soft tyres. He's gone for it in this session. He thinks the time has come for slicks. It still looks very wet out there, but the track doesn't seem too slippery, although Tier's just gone into the gravel, so I think maybe he's made the wrong choice there, and he's not going to have time to go out again. So he is locked into this choice. He's going to have to give it a go. Let's see how Lawrence is doing meanwhile. He's going to be the next to set a lap. He's still got plenty of ERS left as he heads down towards the end of Sector 2. Let's see what it is at the sector line. Is it a big improvement? Oh my goodness me, is it a big improvement? 2.7 second improvement from Lawrence, and there's probably more to come in these last few corners. So Lawrence, I think, likely to take provisional pole position here, but I mean, he's equally likely to be back down in 14th by the end of the session the way this is going. He comes down towards the bus stop chicane. He's not going to have time to go again either. There's only 1 minute 50 left in this session. He's timed this wrong, Lawrence has. He's gone to pole position, but he's never in a million years going to stay there. The track is getting better and better. There's only 1 minute 40 to go. It could be a story of last across the line here. Where's Extrek? He's in sector 2. So we'll see where he's going to be. He's not got a lot of ERS left, so like Lawrence, he's not going to get another go at this, at least not with full ERS. Kurt goes to P3. Wow, this session could go anywhere. It really, really could. Extrek is going to be one of the first across the line here. He's not got any ERS left. The champions timed this wrong as well, I think. Denko goes to provisional pole. Where's Extrek going to be? I think he'll probably take pole as well. JB's retired in the pit lane. He is going to drop so far down the grid. Extrek goes to provisional pole by over a second, but there's so many more laps to come in, and the track is getting better and better. 50 seconds to go in this session. Who is going to be last across the line? It's not going to be Cavalis. He's gone to P2 in his Williams. He'll be happy with that, but how far will he fall in the end? Jackalacco starting a lap on the soft. Never mind, he's in the wall, and the closest challenger to the championship lead has gone for a gamble with the softs at the end of this session, and it has gone horribly, horribly wrong. He is going to plummet down the grid as everyone else improves. Tier's invalidated, so he's made the wrong choice as well. They had to stay on the inters, it seems. Aces goes to P2. With just 2/10 behind Extrek. He tried again without any ERS. I'm sure Extrek will do the same, but I don't think he's going to improve. No, he's 1.5 seconds down. So it's all on everyone else now. Sumo coming through. Tier's going to get one more attempt at it. Goodness me, he was the last across the line. It could work out after all for the McLaren driver. Sumo can only manage P4. Lawrence only P5. Robsu goes to 6th. But there's more laps to come. Kurt, is he improving? No, he's way down. Avenir is done. Primeval's invalidated. Enchilada Dad goes to 5th place, but it's the best he can do. Who else is coming through? Is it too dry for the inters now? Did Extrek time it right after all? How is Tier doing? He's way down and is invalidated, so clearly not slick tyres yet. Scott's improving. Could Scott snatch pole position here? He's improving by a huge amount. There's more drivers ahead of him coming across first. But where is Scott going to be? He comes to the last chicane now. There's several cars ahead of him, but none of them are on laps. Here comes Scott. What can he do? Can he snatch a shocking pole position? Through the final corner comes Scott M89, and he takes pole position of 50.855. Who else can get anywhere near that? Aces not improving. No one else is, I don't think, other than maybe Triku. Oh, could Triku get it? He's 2.3 seconds up, but he's going to need a huge amount more than that to beat Scott. I think Scott might have this here. Triku, he's going to improve by a lot, but is it going to be enough? No, it's only P3 for him. It's still a second. Is qualifying over. What a dramatic session here in Belgium. An absolute classic of an APP qualifying session on the penultimate round of a thrilling title fight. And it's Scott who takes pole position by over 0.7 of a second from Extrek. He timed it right. He got the lap in that no one else could. And he is very deserving of that pole position. What will the race bring, I wonder? Jackalacco falls all the way to 13th after that crash, after that huge gamble to put on the softs. Did not pay off. Same for Tier. Enchilada is up in P7. So we'll see if he can get any better than that as the race goes on. But the championship leader will be pleased to see Jacko so far down. Although it's not like Jacko is any stranger to picking his way through a grid after a poor qualifying. So we'll see what he can do too. But goodness me, what a session. What a race this is looking like being. So it's Scott with an emphatic pole position in this thrilling qualifying session, with Extrek alongside him on the front row. Triku and Aces make up row 2, with Cavalis and Sumo on the third row together. I think that's Cavalis' best qualifying ever, by the way, so huge congratulations to him. Enchilada down in 7th with Lawrence, Robsu and Denko on row 5. Then it's Kurt, JB and Jacko down in 12th and 13th. Then it's Tyr, Gary, Avenir and Primeval, the rest of the grid. Oh boy, we are in for a barnstormer of a race here. It's looking dry for now. Will it stay that way is the question, I wonder. There's Scott in the Discord saying he doesn't really want to be on pole. Well, we'll see if his opinion on that changes. Here we go then. 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we're underway for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's a drive-through penalty for Cavalis after his best ever qualifying. What a desperate shame for him. But it's Scott who leads through turn 1. Lawrence is falling down the grid. I'm not sure what's happened there. Aces as well down to P9. I think Cavalis might have turned across someone, but I'm not sure. But it's the top 3 in order as they head down towards Lecom for the first time in this race. It's dry tyres for everyone. What tyres are most people on softs, but some have gone for the mediums. As Sumo down the inside of Cavalis now. Easy move well before the corner from Sumo, as the drivers now have to get back used to driving with the full grip of the dry tyres after that wet qualifying session. Aces down 4, Lawrence down 6. Disastrous starts for them, but Jackalacco already up 3 positions as he goes down the inside of Denko. Down the hill and up into the top 10 already. Enchilada up 1 as well to P6 as they all hurtle down towards Puon. It's Scott who leads from the 2-time champion Extrek. One of the best battles that Scott has had this season, by his own word, was with Extrek in Las Vegas several weeks ago. So we could be in for a repeat battle between these two today if this continues to go like this. But Extrek looking very quick at the moment through all these corners. Jackalacco making up another spot in the meantime. Up to P9 he goes. He's just 3 places behind Enchilada Dad now as Denko follows the Aston Martin past that Sauber. Sumo Gilligan meanwhile making a move round the outside of Triku Badayak down towards the chicane. He goes. Can he get this done? He sweeps around to the inside for the left-hander, and Sumo is up to P3 as Enchilada Dad loses 2 places in one corner and is now faced with its closest championship rival in his mirrors. Extrek to the lead of the race meanwhile. Into the inside of turn 1 he goes. Cavalis and Triku battling it out too, but Jackalacco and Enchilada Dad, the 2 championship rivals, side by side down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Surely not. No, Enchilada backs out. Oh, what drama we could have had there. But no, Enchilada very sensibly backs out of that one. And they've both got DRS down towards Lecom. Enchilada using a bit of ERS, but not enough as Scott retakes the lead down towards Puon with the DRS. And it's Aces versus Kings making up a place as well on Robsu. Into P6 he goes as he continues his fight back after his unfortunate start to this one. It is still a 13-car DRS train though. JB still sitting, languishing all the way down in 13th at the back of this. With Gary and Tyr having a battle for P15 further back. Not sure what happened to Tyr, but he's had a rough start too. He's down another position. I wonder if there's damage to that McLaren. But Jackalacco up to P8 already, ahead of the championship leader on track. And what a start he has had to this race. Meanwhile, everyone else still very, very close together for the lead. Extrek right behind Scott, practically pushing him through the ladder pad of Sector 2. Sumo gets the tyre on the curb, and it's too much to handle. He loses the rear and drops all the way down. Costly mistake for the Ferrari driver, and he's going to have to fight his way all the way back up again now, but at least he has remained in that DRS train. It was a good save, yeah, to be fair to him. As Triku now, oh no, that's Cavalis coming into the pits for his drive-through, of course. Such a desperate shame for the Lithuanian. He's been having such a good race. He had an amazing qualifying as X-Trek is under pressure from Triku. Badayak is that? No, it's the other way around. It's Aces under pressure from Triku. I do apologise. But Aces, actually, I think it was the other way around. Aces making the move up to P3. I called that overtake wrong twice, but we got there in the end. As Robsu now with the DRS, can he make a move on the Haas? Or with Triku come back at Aces? Not this time. X-Trek on the inside of Scott, though he backs out of it. He knows that Scott has a lot less to lose than X-Trek, and Scott will fight this a lot harder, I would hesitate to say. He's also got a lot more ERS, does the Alpine driver. He's managing this race very, very well so far. And he's on the medium tyres as well, so he can go longer here. Medium is going to be quite substantial. I actually don't know too much about the strategy on this track, to be honest. I've had a very busy day. I didn't get a chance to look in the archives to see, but it's Sumo on the inside of Enchilada, perhaps, but no move being made this time. And it's still Jacko and Ench close together in this race. JB up to P11 in the meantime, but still not making as much progress as Jacko did earlier in this race in the first couple of laps. Robsu now right behind Triku as well. Look at that gap closing in, but I don't think he's going to be trying to make a move into bus stop. He's going to wait for a better opportunity as Ace is now putting the top two under a heavy amount of pressure. It's an Alpine 1-3. What a result this would be for them. I mean, this would be reminiscent of the real-life Alpine result in Brazil in F1. You know, the Alpines have had a poor season so far this season, not up to expectations at all. So if they can get a double podium, what a result that would be. But I don't want to curse them too much, as I think Sumo lost another couple of positions there. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. Maybe went wide at bus stop. But anyway, X-Trek now is going to have a great opportunity. He's got the DRS, but he's got nothing left in the tank in terms of ERS. And Scott has got everything left to keep him behind. So X-Trek just burning a little too much here, and he's just going to have to stay conservative for now in this race. Triku Binayak following them along. What a season he is having in that Haas. His first two podiums of his APPF1 career this season. He got promoted to the podium in Singapore last week after Enchilada's penalty from the stewards. So he is flying high at the moment. He could even be a contender for regular podiums next season, I think, if he carries on this form. But at the moment, Scott still leads from X-Trek. It's as you were with these guys for now. No one daring to make any sort of move because they're scared of running out the DRS train. And that can be so costly at this circuit. We've got the top 11 drivers in that train for P1, with Kurt now 3 seconds behind, still getting used to wheel, but he's doing a decent job out there for now. And Tier a long way behind as well. There's no damage to that McLaren. I'm not sure how he's found himself so far down, but he's trying to get himself back into this race. As Aces is going to go for a move. He was thinking about it. You could tell he was having a little think on the inside of bus stop, but not going for it this time. X-Trek used a lot of VRS again down towards turn 1. As Jackalacco now around the outside of Robsu into that same corner. Into La Source they go. It's going to be a switchback attempt for the Season 10 champ, but he's not going to be able to do it. Enchilada trying to find a way past as well, but Jacko is going to have to wait until the run towards Lecom, but we've got to cut back to the front because X-Trek again having a go on Scott, but again he's wasted all his ERS to get as close as he has done. He's using the DRS though anyway. Down the inside he goes. Does he back out this time? No, he doesn't. The champion makes the move. Scott with a feeling got pushed off there, but X-Trek is into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix, and Scott's just going to have to follow on behind for now. But that Mercedes has not got a lot of ERS to play with. We'll see if he can start trying to gap the Alpines maybe, as we've seen him do so many times once he gets into the lead of a race. But at the moment, Scott staying with him. As Jakalako was not able to make that move on Robsu, he is still in P6 for now, with Sumo just about staying along with him as Scott retakes the lead. He makes the move very early. I was waiting for him to go for it down towards bus stop, but no. On the exit of P1 he goes for it. I wonder if there was a mistake from the Norwegian, but either way, Scott back into the lead. We're only on lap 5, by the way, everyone. Lap 5 of this 22-lap race already feels like an entire race has gone by, but no, we've still got plenty of action to go. We still have an 11-car DRS train for P1. Is JB going for a move on Lawrence? Perhaps he is. He's looking to the outside, down towards bus stop. JB trying to make some progress in this race, but Lawrence brakes very late and keeps that place. JB not willing to go for it. He's got so much to lose, of course, but Lawrence a big mistake on the exit, and could that open the door for JB? It will, but he's going to be so vulnerable if he doesn't get the 1 second range to the cars ahead. I don't think he's going to. Through La Source he goes. He's 1.3 behind, so that's very costly, that mistake from Lawrence for both of those drivers. Meanwhile though, X-Trek right behind Scott again. Does he have DRS? No, he's used it all again. Scott's still got plenty left. But here comes X-Trek down the inside. It's going to be deja vu from the last lap again, and X-Trek back into the lead. But Robsu getting ahead of Triku Bidayak as well in the meantime while we were looking up front. So a good move from the Finn. Jacko trying to follow him through down the inside. Oh my goodness me, the Scotsman really going for moves in this race, but that one didn't quite pay off either, as Enchilada following on behind as well. Scott 6/10 behind X-Trek now. The Mercedes driver already trying to build a gap, but he's using so much ERS to do it. And as long as Scott is in that DRS range, he will be just fine. Meanwhile, Lawrence, of course, re-overtaking JB with the DRS, but 1.3 behind the train. It's not looking good for JB. If it ends like this, I'm fairly sure he would be mathematically out of the title battle in terms of the drivers, which would be such an unceremonious and undeserved way for that to happen. But there's plenty of time to go in this Grand Prix, as Enchilada right behind Jakalako. Scott sticking with X-Trek for now. Once again, the top two in the championship. They're not really sparring for now, they're just being patient, but Enchilada knows he's going to be on the better tyres later. But how much later is the question? Is it going to be costly for him? Let's put the tyres on the screen. It's Scott in the mediums, as well as Ench, Denko and JB out of those top 11. Then Avenir and Gary also in those mediums further back, but Gary has switched onto them after a pit stop. Here comes Scott now. He's going to have the DRS. Surely a simple move for the Alpine driver. And the man who's starting on pole is back into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Jakalako sending it down the inside of Triku Bidayak. And what a move it was from the Season 10 champ. He is up into the top 5 on those soft tyres, and Enchilada can only watch as his main rival, who started some 7 or 8 places below him on this grid, is now 2 places ahead by lap 7. And, well, he'll be wondering what on earth has happened in this race, but he is still on those mediums, remember, and the strategy may yet come into his hands later on. Scott leads by 6/10, and Ace is 7/10 behind X-Trek, struggling to stay with the Mercedes driver. Perhaps those softs starting to wear away for the Alpine, or X-Trek's just using a ton of ERS, or both. But 9.5 tenths, it's very, very close to him running out of that DRS range. He's coming back into it a little bit now, but Robsu's now struggling to stay within it. He's got plenty of DRS left on his car too, but oh, he's just about, I think, going to get it on the run to turn 1, but it's the run to Le Con that really matters after Eau Rouge and Radion. Who's that into the pits? It's Ench and Sumo both in. Enchilada in on the mediums. Early stop for those medium tyres. Is he going on the hards to the end? What on earth I'm assuming everyone else is doing soft medium. It is hard tyres for Enchiladadad. Really surprising strategy call from the championship leader. But we'll see how well it goes for him. Sumo is going to be on the mediums, and I believe those hards are pretty bad on this circuit. That could be a championship-defining decision from Enchiladadad to go for that strategy. I wonder how well he's going to fare with it. But meanwhile, Scott is proving that that pole position was not just a fluke. He is gapping the two-time reigning champion. Well, he was. Extrek coming back at him now, but Scott was briefly over a second ahead, and now Aces is struggling to stay within that range again. 1.2 seconds. I think that might be him done in terms of the battle for the top two, unless there's a mistake from the car ahead, or he finds some pace out of nowhere. Maybe he'll go for an undercut now he's ran out of DRS. That's probably what I would do in his position. I'd strap on the mediums and go to the end, but we'll see what the British driver is planning as they head through for the 8th time down towards bus stop. Robsu just half a second behind, then it's Jakalako as well. Triku just 8/10 behind, but he's got to work hard to stay in DRS2. Enchilada is somehow capping Sumo on the hards. What is happening? 1.5 seconds is the gap. What on earth is happening? I thought those hards were awful on the circuit. Clearly not. Aces does exactly what I said that I would do. I wonder if he's listening in. But he comes into the pits for an undercut. JB also in. Is he going to the hards as well? Going for a different strategy. I mean, why not? When he's on the back foot already in this race, he is. Hard tyres for him, but it's mediums for Aces, presumably to the end, as Kurt and Cavalis having a little battle of their own down towards turn 1. Cavalis making that move. And Aces rejoins just behind them. That's not clean air at all, but he is ahead of Enchiladadad at least, as Jacko and Robsu do battle down towards Legon. Robsu on the outside. It's going to be inside for the next corner. Down the hill they go, but surely Robsu has to yield here and does. But look at the gap to Extrek, 2.7 seconds. It's looking like the Mercedes driver and Scott are running away with this race now at this nearing the halfway stage. Denko staying with them as well. He's back in form at this circuit, it seems, and that is exactly what he needs to do for his team in order for Mercedes to win the Constructors this season. Cavalis and Kurt again doing some battle as Cavalis sweeps around the outside. Enchilada around the outside of Avenir as well, just behind, as Aces gets ahead of the Sauber 2. And now he's got to clear this Williams of Cavalis, who's not had a good first stint at all after his drive through. Aces into the back of him, underestimating the amount of grip that he's got. As they head through the latter part of the second sector, Aces will be impatient here. Enchilada was certainly impatient. He went for a move on Kurt. It didn't work. And now he finds himself losing a ton more time to Aces than he would have done. Extrek into the pits for the undercut. Robsu doing the same, and Triku as well. So Scott and Denko are going to be the top two in this race now. Or actually, Jakalako has stayed out too on his soft tyres, which is a surprise. I thought everyone would be in by now on the softs, but no, Jacko still out, 5 seconds behind Scott. As Kurt finally peels into the pit lane, but the damage has been done to Enchiladadad. He's well behind Aces, and now Sumo's back in DRS range as Avenir goes far too deep into turn 1 there. Gets away with it though, as the Haas of Triku just coming out the pits at the same time. Goodness me, that could have been very nasty indeed, but they've gotten away with it just about as they head through Eau Rouge and Radion. Triku onto those medium tyres to the end of this race, but I do think that undercut's going to be extremely powerful for the guys who started on softs. So Scott's going to be in trouble here. He's got to consider pitting, but what's his strategy, I wonder? Is he going to go for an overcut, go for softs to the end and hope he has the pace? I do wonder. The softs do go for a long time around this circuit, so it's an interesting call either way. But Robsu and Lawrence, meanwhile, doing battle. And that was Robsu getting past. As Enchiladadad is, well, he's in DRS range of Cavalis, but he's well behind Aces. As Sumo is now right behind that McLaren on the hard tyres. When is Jacko coming in, I wonder? Scott as well. Are they going to come in this lap, or will they wait a bit longer? Denko is staying with Jacko sensationally. He's doing a brilliant job out there. It's hard after you've had a few poor races in a row. It's hard to get your mojo back, but Denko seems to have done that as Enchilada now sweeps through Cavalis with the ERS usage. Is ahead of that Williams well before, and Jacko does peel into the pit lane. So he reacts to that undercut, but I think he's going to lose out quite majorly here. It does look like Scott and Denko are extending for a soft stint to the end. I don't think they'll extend too much longer, maybe to lap 12, and then they'll come in. But Jacko exits the pits. He's going to be so far behind, I think, thanks to that undercut for everyone around him. Where he is in relation to Edge, that's the main thing. He's coming out the pits now, but he's well down on the McLaren driver. He's 4 cars behind him. Lawrence, Robsu and Sumo have all come out ahead of the man in second place in this championship. And a costly decision there, perhaps, to wait for one more lap before pitting. Sumo now ran the outside of Enchilada. He's up to P5. He is making a very nice recovery indeed so far, as Aces is now right behind Extrac. That undercut's worked beautifully for the Alpine. He was well over 1.5 seconds behind when he came in, so he's done the right thing to go for the undercut, but does he have the pace to keep up? That is the question. Meanwhile, Scott and Denko are really going to suffer from this undercut, I think. They're going to have to make their way through so many cars. And, yeah, I don't know about this strategy, guys. I really don't. They're going to be on the much better soft tyre, but how much is it going to pay off, I wonder? Scott coming to the bus stop chicane. Is he going to pit? Let's ride on board and find out. Does he peel to the right? No, he keeps going for another lap. So it looks like he is going until lap 12 at least, as Sumo picks up a track limits penalty in that Ferrari, and that will surely put paid to his hopes of winning this race, or maybe even his hopes of getting a podium, as Denko now comes in. He reacts to the undercut. He's going to put on the hard tyres though. If you're going to put on hards, surely you pit earlier than this. I'm really surprised that he's waited this long and put on the hards anyway. It seems like a misstep to me. He's going to lose out so much, and he's going to be on the worst tyre as well. He's all the way down to P11 by the looks of it. There's Triku, and yeah, P11 for Denko. Dear oh dear, was that the right call? We will have to wait and see, but Enchilada right behind Sumo now. He's going to have the DRS as Aces gets his way past the two-time champion of Extrarec. He is up to second place, and Enchilada is up to fourth as well in his McLaren. It's going to be a net P3 after Scott comes in, so Ench minimising the damage. Jacko has gone for the wrong strategy call. It is dreamland for the championship leader, as it stands, he's looking to widely extend his championship lead going into the finale next week in Zandvoort. But there's still just under half of this race to go, so plenty of time left, and Extrac is still very much in this championship too, don't forget. He is going for the race lead on Aces versus Kings, who goes a bit too much into the curb and a little too wide there. Perhaps Extrac struggling here. Alpine communicating about holding Extrac up. That's clever team play from the Alpine duo. If so, thank you, Rick, for communicating that, as Cavalis loses a few positions and gets a time penalty. This race has not gone to plan for the Williams driver. So unfortunate after that sensational qualifying. Extract to the outside of Aces, but Aces is doing a beautiful job at holding him up. Scott comes into the pits. He's put on those soft tyres to the end. Where's he going to be in relation to the others, though? He's just exiting now. There's the two on the right-hand side of your screen. Where's Scott going to be? He's actually not that far behind at all. He might be in front. No, he's just in third place, but he stayed in DRS. Absolutely brilliant teamwork from the Alpine pair, as Jacko gets past Lawrence, because there's been a big collision for the Aston Martin by the looks of things. I don't know how much damage he has, but disaster for him as Extract gets his way past Aces. But Scott on those soft tyres. Yeah, thank you to Rick Brundle in the chat. But Sumo getting past Enchilada further back, but it's Extract who leads. But Scott in a fantastic position now, as Triku now gets past JB as well, who's looking at his championship hopes slipping away. He's not the only one. Jakalako sees it slipping away as well. That's why he's going for a daring overtake down the inside of Robsu. It's going to the outside for No Name. Can he get it done? They're still side by side on the run towards Puon. Robsu finally backs out and Jacko gets it done. He's up to P6, but he's just under 2 seconds behind his main championship rival ahead, Enchilada Dad. Sticking with Sumo, he's in a net P4, and well, if he can finish this race by finishing ahead of Jacko, I think he'll be satisfied with that, even if Extract does manage to win this one, as he's pulling away from Aces at this stage. With Scott right behind on those soft tyres, can he make any inroads? Will there be team orders at Alpine to let Scott go past and charge after this man, two-time champion Extrek, two-time reigning champion Extrek, who leads this Grand Prix, but still nothing from the Alpines yet. Aces staying ahead of Scott for now. Perhaps they have a gap in mind for when is best to let Scott through. Maybe they won't play team orders at all. Who knows? But Jakalako just ahead of Robsu further back. Enchilada putting Sumo still under pressure as the top three are still locked together. Here comes Aces again with the DRS. It's a simple pass for the Alpine driver. Scott's not far behind either. Oh my goodness, if he'd used DRS there, he could have had a go at the two-time champ, but he decides to stay back for now as Ench makes that move again on Sumo. They continue to swap places for P4, but of course Sumo with that penalty is on the back foot in this particular battle. We've got Aces though leading. We've got a safety car! We've got a safety car! What on earth is that for? I do not know. I've no idea what that's for. But Scott is going to feel so hard done by that. He's going to be on much, well, more used softs than everyone else unless he comes in as well, but oh, he was on the right strategy there. And, well, they're going to get a double stack as well, the Alpines, aren't they? So, oh dear, Scott's got a decision to make here. Does he stay on those softs? I think he has to, really. He's got to stay out and take the lead, I think. He's going to be on worse tyres than everyone else in the last couple of laps, but I think he's got to take... to just stay out and take the lead here. Wonder what he does. Is Massey back? Yeah, good question. Why has the safety car come out? It's looking like he's going into the pits. He's hanging back from Aces. I think this is a mistake. He's going to lose out so much. No, he stays out. So I think he was hanging back just in case. He couldn't make his decision yet. But he's finally made it, and he will take the lead, but he's going to have 2 laps older soft tyres than everyone else. Denko also staying out to try and cause problems in his Mercedes. We're really getting to that end of the season now, where drivers start making seemingly nonsensical decisions to benefit their championship bids, or to give themselves better chances. But everyone's going to be on equal tyres now, except for Tia, Denko and Scott. Tia and Denko on the hards. Hello to Red Flame Joe in the chat, 4-time reigning elite champion of APP. And he says he thinks Scott has done the right thing. I agree, Joe. I think it would be an awful decision to pit. It's the only thing he could really do. And, well, Denko is going to try and cause as many problems as possible on those hard tyres, but I think that's going to be quite the task for him. He might get swamped here. We could get an absolutely chaotic finish to this race, these last few laps. We've got a Denko fan in the chat as well who's willing him on. It's going to be a mammoth task, though, for Denko to do anything to help his teammate here. He's just going to have to do his best to hold everyone up. Tyr, I'm sure, will let Ench through at the earliest opportunity as soon as the safety car comes in. And Jacko all the way down in 9th. Meanwhile, not just one Denko fan. We've got plenty of Denko fans in the chat, as always. It's always great to see. There's some Extract fans as well, so it's full force out for Mercedes today in the chat. But this shock safety car that's come out of absolutely nowhere, really throwing a spanner into the works of this race. fascinating ending to this race we have in store. I still don't know why the safety car came out. Like Rick said, I was looking at the mini-map, I couldn't find anyone who'd spun. So it is a weird one. Safety car was caused by me, overshot it at Eau Rouge, and lost. Hang on, I need to open YouTube to see that comment. And lost all of my front wing. Ah, yeah, that'll do it. That will definitely do it. Cavalis and Primeval also in. This reignites Cavalis' race a little bit, but he's still going to be down in P15 because Gary's going to get promoted past both Williams. It's points for the top 15 in Tier 2, remember everyone. It's 20 points for winning, then 16, then 14, then 12, then 11, 10, 9, 8, all the way down to 1 point for 15th place. And then there's also a point for fastest lap as long as you finish in the top 15, which currently belongs to Trikubit Dayak down there in 10th place with a 1:45.4, but that will likely be beaten now that everyone's on fresh softs at the end of this race. So still anyone's game for fastest lap for sure. Grid will bunch right up again. Let's have a quick look at penalties too. 3 seconds to Tia, Sumo, Cavalis and Kurt, and 6 seconds to Primeval, who's looking like he's got a job in his hands to score points today, although with the grid this close together and most people on equal tyres but a few going to be roadblocks, if everyone gets to the end of this one in one piece, then I will be very impressed. Yeah, we already had an absolute classic in qualifying. We could have a blockbuster ending to this race too. I imagine the safety car will be in this lap, so we're going to get 6 laps of green flag racing. And it is anyone's game. Got to think of the context of the championship as well. Mercedes in an amazing position here, 2nd and 4th, but Denko on those hard tyres is going to be a sitting duck. X-Threat is going to be trying to make us through the Alpines, who's been battling with all race long. Then it's the 2 McLarens, but Tia on 10-lap-old hard. Tia is going to plummet down the grid, I think. I don't know why he stayed out here, but especially with that 3-second penalty. Primeval getting a 10-second penalty as well, just for good measure. A collision with his teammate, which is never good. Yeah, we'll see. McLaren's in a bad spot here. Enchilada going to have to do his best in terms of that Constructors' Championship. The V-Cobs in 8th and 11th too. They desperately need a better result than that. Here we go then. Scott leads the way as the safety car peels into the pits. Let's ride on board with Denko as we head down towards bus stop. Looks like Scott has gone for it on the run towards bus stop already. It's an early send, an early punch of the throttle as they head towards that final chicane. Scott leads the way then down towards turn 1 as Aces tries to make his way past Denko straight away. Denko defends to the inside, places his car in the middle of the circuit, makes it as difficult as possible for the Alpine, and he succeeded in keeping him behind for this corner, but it's only going to last 1 corner by the looks of things. Aces sends it around the outside down towards Eau Rouge and Radion, and Denko lets his teammate through Radion. Oh my goodness, what a place to swap cars, but they've managed it just about. Enchilada's going to be next up, and Denko derating down the straight. Ench looks to the inside. Denko leaves him just enough room to get it. Enchilada, is he going to brake late? He is going to try. Oh, but Denko's brake later. He's well off the circuit. Across the grass he goes, but he stays ahead. He's done his job. He's keeping the championship leader behind him. I think this might have been the more key job for Denko. It didn't really matter about the Alpines. It was more about holding off Enchilada from having a go into this battle for the lead. He's done exactly that. Enchilada to the inside of Puon. Can he get this done? Denko's going to defend for all he's worth, and he's done it again. Enchilada cannot find a way through. 2 tyres on the grass. His teammate's trying to find a way in the inside, but backs out of it. Sumo! No! Tia understeers into Sumo. It was always going to happen on those tyres, and he's all the way down to the back of the grid again, and still Enchilada cannot get past this Mercedes. This is incredible Sergio Perez stuff from Denko just ahead. I cannot believe he's kept Ench behind this long. Ench finally gets ahead, but the job has been done, and Denko's now going to try and get back past with the DRS, I'm sure, on the run to Lecom. He's looking for a move again. It's Carnage just behind him, though. Robsu tries to go down the inside and ruin Denko's plans, and he has done exactly that. Robsu goes around the outside now of Bus Stop, and he gets the better grip on the exit. Brilliant stuff from Robsu. And Denko tries to stay with him, but he can't quite do it. Sumo barges his way down the inside, and so does Jacko down the inside of both cars. And Jacko up to P6, and he's not out of this one after all. But the Enchilada 2 places ahead of him, but it's 4.5 seconds to the top 3. Denko has done his job and then some, as the Alpines are looking for a top 2, a 1-2 finish in this race. What a result that would be for them. Robsu now takes P4 as Enchilada finds himself 3 wide into Lecom. Oh my goodness me! He was inches away from contact between the top 2 in the championship, but Jacko yields just in time, and now he gets back past this championship rival. There's contact down the straight. Enchilada just about survives again, but he's now behind his closest championship rival once again in this race. But it's a crucial mistake for the Scotsman. It's all happening corner up to corner here. Jacko with a 3-second time penalty, and Enchilada has some reprieve, but he seems to be really struggling for pace on these soft tyres compared to those drivers who passed him. He's just not staying with them as well as I thought he might. And now he just has to stay within 3 seconds of Jacko, but can he do it? 7.5 tenths it is, 8 tenths now as they head down towards Bus Stop. He's got plenty of ERS left compared to the Aston V, won't know that. Gary spins in the background, unfortunately for him, as Denko is plummeting down the grid, but he has done his job. He's absolutely done his job. 5 seconds is the gap between Extrek and everyone else. And Extrek just sticking with the Alpines for now, but there's not much he can really do in this situation. That none of them are very particularly high on ERS at the moment, so it's all going to be a shootout in these last few laps between these 3. It's still anyone's game for the win of this race, as Robsu now gapping Jacko for P4. What a drive he's having in that V-Carb. He's doing everything he needs to do to keep V-Carb in this championship. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Taka. Absolutely right. So the Constructors' Championship still going down to the wire as Triku around the outside of Enchilada. Enchilada just has no pace in that McLaren. It's Extrek down the inside of Aces down the hill. He's made the move stick. He is up to 2nd place, and he looks like he's going for the win once again here in Belgium this season. And with Enchilada down in 7th place, he's going to put himself in a fantastic position for the finale as well. He won't be that far behind. There's too much going on for me to calculate points right now, but all that matters is that Ench is going to lose a lot of points to Extrek, and well, if Jacko can gap them and get that 3-second margin, then he'll lose a couple of points to the Scotsman as well. But goodness me, once the race is over, I'll update you all on the championship, I promise. But at the moment, there's just too much happening for me to do the maths. Sumo going for a move on Ench as well. He's got a penalty too, don't forget, but he's going to go for it. He's using his ERS. He finds the outside line. He's going to go for it through the flat-out corner. He's made the move. Enchilada lets him go. Not willing to fight that. There's so much on the line for the McLaren as Sumo barges down the inside of Triku Badayak and sends them both into a spin. Enchilada takes full advantage. He's going to go around the outside of both of them here, down towards La Source. Who's going to come out? It's 3 wide. Sumo goes deep, and they come out in the order that they went in somehow. But Enchilada on the outside towards Oruja and Radion. Surely not. No, he yields again. Not willing to do that with this much on the line. Meanwhile, it's Extrek who takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. The 2 Alpines going wheel to wheel now. This is not what you want to see from them. They're not doing the team play to beat Extrek here. Triku, Sumo and Ench wheel to wheel again as well. Triku's got the head. Enchilada down to P8, and Jacko is gapping them thanks to all of this battling. He's caught up to Robsu. He's gapping the cars behind as well. It's 4 seconds between Robsu and Scott. So I think that deal is done. It's all about those top three. But Enchiladad is just shipping position after position in this final stint. And the championship leader having a bit of a nightmare here. He could lose more points to Jacko. He's going to lose so many points to Xtrek if these Alpines can't deal with him. And at the moment, they're not doing it. Aces is too far behind, 8.5 tenths. How much ERS has he got? Half, but so has Xtrek. Scott a little bit more, but not much. And the Alpines are going to have to do so much to beat the two-time reigning champion here. These are the situations Xtrek thrives in. Whenever he gets into this kind of situation, you usually see him win. Due to that racecraft and racing IQ that he has. As Sumo round the outside of Triku, down towards bus stop, onto the penultimate lap we go in this barnstormer of a Belgian Grand Prix. What a qualifying we had, what a race we are having. It is still all the way down to the wire. Robson keeping Jacko behind, but it's going to be DRS for the Aston Martin on the run towards Lecom. Now, here we go for the top three, though. Let's keep an eye on these aces with the DRS, but he's got nothing left in the tank for ERS to attack with. He looks to the inside, but he's run out of straight line as they break for the corner. Xtrek still ahead. Jacko ahead of Robsu meanwhile, but that 3-second penalty going to be so costly in the end. Enchilada down in P8. He's looking like he's going to finish 7th after Sumo's penalty, but I think Jacko's going to get him here on that 3-second margin. Ench just hasn't got the pace in this final stint. He will be lamenting this safety car because it has ruined his race. It looked like he was clear for P4 in this one, but not anymore. It's looking like he might even be 7th at best if he can't deal with Triku. Lawrence is lurking in the background too, but I know the last thing he will want to do is take out the championship leader. Never mind, he's taken himself out. Gets a wheel on the curb and goes around. Back on the track he goes. We lose his position to JB as the two Alpines swap, and Scott's going around the outside of Xtrek here, down towards the final. Oh no! There's contact! Xtrek is into the grass! Oh my goodness me! Scott's into the lead, but Xtrek has lost a ton of time. He's 2 seconds behind. He's still well in front of Jacko, so he's not in danger of losing third, but he will not be happy with that contact at all. I'm sure there was nothing purposeful, but Scott is now in the lead. Alpine looking for a 1-2, but absolutely Dakar. Controversy, and there's more controversy. Enchiladad loses a piece of his front wing and loses a couple positions as well. He's back down to P8. He might not even get Sumo now. He's got front left end plate damage as Robsu gets past Jacko. The two Alpine swap positions. Are they going to fight for the win, or are they just going to come home for a 1-2? I don't know what's going on, Red Flame Joe. It's all happening. Jackalacco trying to make a move on Robsu. He wants to definitely get the position on Triku. Enchilada just about staying with the Haas for now. Can he at least get Sumo on penalties? It's been a horrible, disastrous race for Enchiladad. It's Xtrek down to P3. We've got yellow flags further back, but I don't know what it's for. Come on, Scott, says Red Flame Joe in the chat. Well, the Alpines are right together. One of them's got a lot more ERS, and it is Scott. Sumo gets another penalty for his troubles, and that's definitely going to see Enchilada finish ahead of him, and it's going to see JB finish ahead too, but JB needs a lot more than that. He's going to finish a point behind Enchilada in this race by the looks of things, and that will see him all but out of the Drivers' Championship fight. Enchilada just about staying with Triku, but the two Alpines, who's going to win this race? Scott to the outside of Aces versus Kings into the final chicane. Aces breaks late and stays ahead. What an awful camera angle. Scott spins it. Oh no, out the final corner. Scott spun it. He might lose the podium here, and he has done. Oh my goodness me. Scott has lost the podium place out the final corner. Robsu takes it in the end. Enchilada's going to finish 7th. Jacko in the top 5. Triku down in P6, but finishing only just behind Jacko. JB down in 8th. Lawrence P9. Sumo down in 10th after his penalties. Cavalis gets some points on this horrible race. Denko finishes P12 after his brilliant teammate work. to keep those cars behind him for so long. Xtrek finishes in second place in the end, and Aces winning his first race of the season. And well, there's been so much going on, but you have to put the camera on this man, because he has had this season of nightmares. It has to be said. Nothing has gone right for him this season. Yeah, his first decent result of the whole season was in Mexico, where he finished in 6th. But finally, he is back on the top step of the podium, where we were so used to seeing him for so long until this season. And what a race it was. Oh my goodness me. Wonderful chaos, absolutely. The chat's going crazy, and why not after that one? Oh my goodness. Wow, wow, wow. So Aces versus Kings wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Xtrek in P2 with Robsu snatching the podium after Scott spun it at the final corner trying to take the race win. Jackalacco finishes in 5th place with Triku in P6, and Enchilada championship leader down in 7th. JB down in 8th, and it's Lawrence, Sumo, Cavalis, Denko, Gary, Avenir and Kurt, the last of the points finishers. Kurt getting points on his debut, and Gary as well, with Tia and Primeval at the back of the grid. But Tia snatching the fastest lap away, so no one will get that extra point at least. But wow, we will have interviews with the top 3, don't forget. Well, not with Xtrek, because he can't really join interviews. But we'll certainly talk to Aces and Robsu. What a race that was. And let's update, before we go into interviews, let's update you on the standings briefly. So, Enchilada was P7 and Jacko finished 2 points ahead of him. So Jacko is going to be just 2 points behind the championship leader going into the season finale. Xtrek will have gained some points as well. So he will be... he was 16 behind coming into this. He would have gained 16, 14, 12, 11, 10. Trying to work this out on the fly. I think it's going to be how many points for P7? It's going to be 9 points for P7. So Xtrek will have gained 7 points. So Xtrek will be 9 points behind, and JB's will be 16 points behind. So that is your Drivers' Championship top 4 going into the final race of the season. I mean, it's mainly about the top 3, but JB's in with a shout if something goes horribly wrong for all 3 of them. But wow, what a season. We're going to have interviews with the podium finishers. I do not know what to say. Wow, 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 wow. Do not miss next week. I don't know about the constructors. I'm not doing the maths for that right now. I'll update you all at the start of next week's stream. Oof. So we do have Rob Sue just waiting for races.
And we're back. Am I back? Let's go!
Well, I mean, you started the interview for me, Aces. Uh, well, after probably one of the worst seasons of your APPF1 career, to get the win here in Belgium after such a chaotic and such a tough race, you must be absolutely buzzing, mate.
I'm buzzing, mate. I ain't gonna lie. To be fair, Scott don't love me no more for some reason. I don't know why, but I don't know. You know what? In going into quali and that, I didn't feel confident. To be fair, I'd done a few like 15, 20 minutes before, and it just didn't feel right. Then it was raining. I thought, oh my God. I just thought, just let me just put a lap on the board. I think I qualified P4, I think, something like that. And then
Yeah.
I just thought, I just concentrate on the race, just no damage first couple of laps, and just get into a groove and just see where we finish. And then obviously I was surprised with the pace, to be fair. Scott done a brilliant quali lap, GT to him, to be fair. Smashed it out of the park. And it was a very eventful race, to be fair. First, went back down to P7 or P8, I think, off the start. I had a bit of an incident with that
Yeah.
Kuvos, is it? Calvos?
Cavalice.
Going into turn one, which he turned in and just touched my front, which unsettled the car. So then I went down to that P7, P8. And from then I just thought I'm putting my head down and I'm just going for it. I did go for a bit of an undercut. I pitted like 9 or 10. I thought I'm just going to put the mediums on, just get on, and the softs got horrible. It was on about 40%. And I just thought, yeah, I came out just behind the extra tech. And to be fair, GG to extra tech as well. I had a good few battles with him. But yeah, man, it's just good to be at the top again. Good to be at the top again. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, absolutely. And well, I mean, there will be many who feared that we would never have the old aces back with this season that you've had, but you've definitely proved any of those doubters that existed out there wrong today. Does this set you up? I mean, obviously there's still a race to go this season, but we're only going to have a week's break before season 15 of Tier 2. So does this result really set you up to start next season off with a bang?
Well, I've said this before and it hasn't gone the way, so I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna enjoy the moment, get next week over, and then we'll go from there. But what can I say? I love racing, man. Obviously, it's a bit frustrating. I'm starting to get used to my new rig now after a good few months and how the pedals feel and that. So I'm hoping it's just onwards and upwards from now. But it was a great race, man. I felt good the whole way through, to be fair. No mistakes. I had 2 warnings as well from lap like 9, I think. So I
Wow.
done well not to get a 3-second penalty as well.
Yeah.
Because, you just go run wide in any of these corners, it's an instant penalty.
Yeah.
I did had a bit of an incident going at the end of the DRS with the S, and then that curve on the left hand side is horrible. Extra Tech managed to get me back there, but I didn't get frustrated. Normally I'd lose my head, but I didn't get frustrated. I just got back into it, just kept relaxed, kept calm, and just drove the best I could. And here we are now. So come on, let's go.
I'm so happy for you, Aces. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me giving you driver of the day today.
Oh,
Um,
thank you, bro.
Especially after the start you had as well. So yeah, what a drive, and Ace is back.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Oh, congratulations. We'll move on then to our second place finisher, Xtrek, has given me a small write up. He said it was a good race. I was driving on P1, but Scott and I collided, and I lost the opportunity to fight for P1, but I managed to still get to P2 thanks to the friends who cheered me on in the chat. And those friends will know who they are in the chat. So thank you both for being here from Xtrek. And also Robsu in third place. Well, this is becoming your trademark now, Robsu. Sort of be around about there, and then in the last few laps somehow get a podium out of nowhere because you're the most consistent. And well, you've done it again today. And a crucial result as well for the VCARB team too in terms of the constructors. Talk us through the race.
Well, first of all, again, congrats, Aces. That was a a mega job. but
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
but uh, kind of a mixed feelings, I'd say. I mean, the pace was good. The quality was actually it should have been better, but no. But I mean, about the race, yeah, the pace was good, and so but I still feel like I should have been P4 or P5, so kind of a mixed feelings at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't. First, you have to finish, Robsu. You
Yeah,
can't be
that's
you can't be feeling bad about snatching P3 right at the end, just because
yeah,
you felt like you didn't deserve it. You finished ahead of everyone else behind you, therefore you deserve the position. So I won't be hearing any of that. But no, I mean, talk us through the after the safety car, because obviously that's when things started to get really crazy. You were already running decently enough before that, but that really brought you into the race, and you fully took advantage of with some wonderful moves as well, to get yourself into that fourth place. Obviously, taking third at the line too, but it was mainly about clearing the pack. So, when Denko was holding everyone up, or well, holding Enchilada up, and then everyone else as an extension, what was going through your head at that moment?
basically just don't crash, don't crash or don't do anything stupid, and just trying to get to the finish line without any penalties, and that I did, which I'm very very happy. But yeah,
Well, I mean, many congratulations to be back on the podium. It was looking bleak, I will say, for I was going to say AlphaTauri then, for for VCarb at one point in that race.
mm,
But that result has really brought you to stay in contention for the constructors. So a very important podium. Uh, how do you and JB feel about the finale in Zandvoort? Have you talked about it at all?
not haven't talked about it yet, so I don't know. I think we're feeling confident.
Hmm.
I'd say.
You've always got to feel confident. You've always got to go
Yeah,
in
yeah.
feeling confident. Yeah, that's great to hear. You won't be that far behind, I don't think. I think um, Extract was second. Denko was like 13th or something. So they'll get about I'd probably say about maybe 19 points or so, 18 or 19.
Ooh.
And you guys, well, you finished fourth, so that's 12. JB, I think, was eighth, ninth. I think it was ninth, so that'll be 7. So 19 for you guys. So you'll probably be around the same margin behind going into next week's finale race. So it's every chance. It's going to be about 12 or 13 points, is what I would say, for the margin. So keep at it. It's absolutely doable, and
Mm.
I hope you can take this form into the finale.
Yeah, I hope so too. And one day I just hope that I could get P2 or even, well, P1, but I mean, yeah, P3 is okay, yeah, but like you said, indeed, it's coming like a trademark for me, so, but
Yeah, that's your third place of the season. um, yeah, I hope you can do one better next week.
Yes.
But yeah, congratulations again, Robsy.
Thank you, Ghost.
Well, what a race! What a season we are having, and I am so excited. I cannot express for the finale next week in Zandvoort. It is going to be an absolute barnstormer. Hopefully, yet another Tier 2 classic. With a 4-way championship battle for the drivers, a 3-way constructors championship battle. It could go any which way at all, and the only way to be here and watch live is on this channel. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all ever so much for watching. We'll be back same time next week for a thrilling final round to this amazing championship. Thank you to all our drivers as always, and thank you all for watching. Tier 2 never disappoints, as Denko says in the chat, and I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.